ahead, just talking big in the yard.
Certainly, we know that there is evidence to show that that is not a true statement. You know, this is typically what happens whenever a defendant gets found guilty after a trial. They don't accept the responsibility. They always want to try to throw their lawyer under the bus, and that's just the way it goes. You know, as I said in the courtroom, I used to be a defense attorney myself. I was a public defender for a while down here, almost 10 years before I became state's attorney, and that's what happens. You know, it kind of definitely feel sorry for Mr. Lee for being to sit there and have those spurious allegations thrown at him, but that's what it is. I mean, it wasn't a joke. The jury found that it was otherwise, and you know, some of the things that Mr. Peterson said today, we certainly have evidence in our file that we believe would show that that's just simply not true. This wasn't a joke, and we know it wasn't a joke, and the jury agreed it wasn't a joke.
I'm glad he's going to die in prison.
You're never glad about anybody's demise. I mean, certainly what the gentleman has done, he deserves to be in prison, but you know, a lot of people think that prosecutors take, you know, a lot of pride in, oh my gosh, this person's going to die in prison. Nobody wants to see anybody die. But that being said, does he deserve to be in prison the rest of his life? Absolutely. But I don't take any joy in it, just doing my job. And he needs to be in prison for the rest of his life, as the judge said, and as one of the factors is to protect society. I mean, it's evident that if Mr. Peterson's out on the street, it just doesn't work.
He continually talked about 16 to 18 witnesses that had information that were not presented. Do you know but he never mentioned who those witnesses were or what information it was.
I mean,
do you have any
there
idea
was
what that
a
was?
lot. I mean, there was a lot of potential witnesses that were disclosed to us. I certainly disagree with his characterization that they were going to help him. You know, I mean, part of the discovery process, you know, it isn't a one-way street. You have to turn over everything what we have. They have to turn over everything that they have. You know, did they develop some witnesses that potentially had something to say about the case? Absolutely, but you know, my opinion was that they'd be crazy to call any of these people, that A, they don't really help, or B, the baggage that goes along with them isn't going to be worth the risk that you do to put them on the stand. But that's their decision to make. It's all part of trial strategy. They did a good job investigating the case, but there isn't like there's some, that we're aware that there's some big piece of evidence that would exonerate Mr. Peterson. That just simply isn't true.
Did you see the pre-sentence file, and did it say, I don't know what it's in there, does he have some serious psychological problems that cause him to apparently violate things and kill?
I'm not aware of there being, yes, I did see, we do receive what's called the pre-sentence investigation that's filed under seal with the court. I'm not aware of anything being in there about any sort of mental illness. The only thing that was in there about medical condition was him being pre-diabetic, which I don't know many people in their 60s and a little bit overweight that aren't pre-diabetic.
How do you explain this version?
I don't think you can.
Said
I just don't think you can.
said he was suicidal. Are you going to order him to be under any type of suicide?
I don't have anything to do with the Illinois Department of Corrections. You know, we can suggest to them certain things, but I know that they have procedures. I know in our own local county jail, if somebody comes back from court and they got a serious charge, they put on suicide watch. You know, I'm confident that DOC will do everything they can to keep Mr. Peterson safe.